Secretary Granholm, thank you for your testimony today. Despite the FBA's takedown of a Volt Typhoon botnet last year, CISA Director Jen Easterly said there have been no big changes to the group's activity. As the sector risk management agency for the energy sector, how is the Department of Energy working to help critical infrastructure providers identify and mitigate threats on their networks?
Yeah, thank you for that question. It's such an important one as we perceive cyber threats to be really increasing. And the Volt Typhoon example is one that we're particularly concerned because Chinese cyber actors are pre-positioning themselves on the networks in order to be ready to strike in case of a conflict. So we have ETech, which we have set up to be able to work with our partners in the private sector, in the utility space, to be on high alert for these kind of cyber activities. We've set out, we've convened, we sent out learnings, we are in very close contact to make sure that we are providing the best information we have about where one might find some of these pre-positioned efforts. So we have set up a whole new infrastructure associated with cyber through our CSER office, and we are really pleased with the coordination that we are seeing as a public-private partnership manner with the private sector and with utilities.
Do you believe you need more authorities or resources to do this outreach successfully?
Well, we could certainly always use more resources to be able to do that, but we believe that Congress has sufficiently at this moment supplied us with what we need through our CSER budget and our partnership with CISA as well.
Do you believe that there should be a mandatory participation for the private sector with regard to critical infrastructure? Because from your answer and from previous hearings, my understanding is CISA can only provide best practices and encouragement and guidance, but certainly can't mandate anything. And I imagine you're under the same lack of authority. Are you concerned at all that you can't guarantee safety, security, or even best effort by any provider in the energy sector, and that would leave us vulnerable to a cyber attack because there's no way for you to make sure that they have the best defenses or have invested the right amount of cybersecurity in our critical infrastructure?
Yeah, we have a very good relationship with all of the major utilities, but there are a lot of smaller utilities, munis, et cetera, and we have relationship with their associations. And we disseminate information and hope that that gets, pressed down through the system.
So the word you just used is you hope that they get pressed down. I mean, that is a very, that is a very inadequate frame, and I'm very concerned about it. And so I'm concerned that you don't have the authorities that you need and that you don't have the resources you need to properly safeguard the electric grid in the event of a cyber attack by China or other adversaries.
Well, mandating would certainly strengthen that.
Correct. Can you tell us, in this setting, about the cyber attack on the electric grid in Guam? And can you tell us about what you would have done differently or what authorities, if you had, could have been implemented? Because this is the Armed Services Committee. We want to make sure our warfighters have the capacity to defend this nation in the event of attack and to protect our power. And without an electric grid at a base of operations that's owned by the private sector, we can't do our job. So I'd like any thoughts or comments you have on that.
Yeah, and I would respectfully request that I get back to you on that so that I can have a fulsome response for you.
That would be helpful. Last, do you have any recommendations about what kind of authorities, or can you, for the record, create some recommendations about what kind of authorities would be useful for you if you were given the task of making sure our electric grid does not go down in a cyber attack by China or any other adversary?
And here, too, I would love to get back to you on this, on some specifics,
Recommendations.
authority-wise, that I could consult with Caesar to see how we might additionally strengthen and the resources that it might take to do that.
Thank you very much, Madam Secretary.
Thank you, Senator Gillibrand.